So this is CW Younger again, and this is the Yuz Revolution, where we use what we got to get where we need to be. And today I have Michelle, aka Love the Poet, aka Miss Brown and Healthy. So welcome.
Thank you.
So I want to start off by saying congrats on your 10-year anniversary for Be Free Friday.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So if you guys didn't know, at the UB Blake, she has a monthly on the last Friday of every month open mic night.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years.
10 years. March 2006. We started that show.
So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So you have a new movement, Brown and Healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So today I thought we would talk about, because I love the motto that you have about writing your own story.
Mm-hmm.
So today I thought I would ask you some questions based on that.
Okay.
So can you tell them a little bit about Brown and Healthy?
Well, Brown and Healthy is a global health and wellness initiative for people of color, specifically Black people. And it started out as just a hashtag for me 3 years ago, just because I'm brown and I was trying to be healthy. And it's not real deep, but that is how it began. But as the time went on and the social climate changed in the last 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
I started to think about what my role could be to help in motivating our people, you know, past the murder and the dysfunction and the nonsense that we seem to be experiencing on a daily basis in the news and the mainstream media. So the tagline for Brown and Healthy is change the narrative, change the world. And I strongly believe that because if you go on Instagram or Twitter or something, the hashtag health or fitness, it's very rare that you see us. And if you do see anybody that looks like us, it's like 4 of us, and they're like hardcore bodybuilders, which is amazing in itself, but still, it seems really unattainable to the regular average person. But the average person is trying to live a very healthy life, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. So it encompasses all of the facets of wellness, and it's an umbrella movement wherein you can come to us and find a trainer, you can come to us and find a fitness professional, you can come to us. So everybody who is doing fitness and is brown and healthy, you know. So that's the concept there.
So just a quick plug, so where would they find you if they wanted to know about Brown and Healthy?
Oh, well, if you want to find out about Brown and Healthy, you can go to www.brownandhealthy.com. Every second and fourth Tuesday of the month, we have the Brown and Healthy Speaker Series, which is a place where you can just come in and physically be in the presence of a professional, wellness professional, health, fitness, financial advisor, just depending on who we have that Tuesday. Everything speaking, and that's at Devco Cafe, 2501 Madison Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland.
And I'll also put that information at the end of the video,
Awesome.
just in case they didn't catch that. So, was there a certain point in your life when you decided that you wanted to kind of control your own story and control your own narrative?
Oh, yeah, and it was recent. I would say I didn't realize that the narrative that's being written about me and my people was so anti-us. I mean, you do know, but you don't know until you really start to tune in to the media. And I think something that really shook me was the spin that was given on the uprising last year. You know, living here and understanding the geographic layout of Baltimore and understanding that the children that were being driven toward Alcantara, which was going more east than south, where the CVS was, and then it being said that those same children were the ones who looted the CVS. I was like, there was no way physically possible they could run down 5 large city blocks from Mondawmin Mall to Pennsylvania Avenue and do that. You know what I mean? And so I started to realize, I started to look around and just say, hey, like, you have to take control of the narrative, and that's in a more social aspect as far as like what's going on with our people. But for myself, I was told years ago by a wonderful the poet MC and an activist, that people will rewrite your history.
Definitely. Always.
Yeah, always. Because I was confused, you know, because there were some people that were approaching me and saying that they loved my work and that this and that. They always knew that I was, but I remembered them being very anti my work and very skeptical of my ability. And when I talked to him about it, he said people are going to rewrite your history because they want to pretend like they were a part of it. Yeah. They're gonna want you to remember them as a supporter, and they weren't necessarily a supporter. And I don't forget things.
They'll be like, I knew you way back.
Yeah, I knew you. And it's just not the truth. And so every chance I guess, and that's a great question that you just asked me. When did I start? I guess it was longer ago than I thought, because that's when I started to actually tell my story whenever I could tell my story. Whenever I had an interview, whenever I had an opportunity on stage to actually give my history myself, you know, and as opposed to allowing other people to give their version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we know you're a poet, right? So how did you go from, you know, having a criminal justice degree, being a track star, to going into poetry and now into photography?
Oh, wow. Well, I started writing poetry before I ever knew what college I would go to, or before I ever hit a track. I started writing poetry when I was 11.
Okay.
And so when I got to college, I saw these amazing poets. Native Son from the Fifth L. At the time, there was no Fifth L, and he wasn't necessarily Native Son. He was just David Ross and
writing
poetry and performing, and Danielle Fuller. And I was like, wow, I was always performing in high school, middle school and stuff. Not necessarily my poetry, but I was always doing dance or something, and talent shows, and I saw them do that, and I was like, I could do that with my poetry. So I bravely walked up to them after as a freshman, you know, and was like, can you teach me how to do that? What is that spoken word? Like, I've never seen anything like that. I grew up in Columbia, Maryland, so Howard County. I never seen spoken word.
Yeah, you grew up like me, where I was like,
what is this? I like it. I had never seen this before, you know. And I'm a 80s baby, a 90s teenager, so there was just none of that there at the time. You know, downtimes have changed a little bit. But so that's how poetry came into play, and I started performing and stuff, and while running track, while, you know, having a criminal justice degree. And what I ended up doing with my degree was working with at-risk youth and special needs kids, ultimately, for about 8 years. And then I transitioned into being a full-time artist, because at the same time, I was growing my artistry as well. So I was doing both. I used to joke, it wasn't really a joke, it's really true. I was working 2 full-time jobs. And then, maybe about 3 years ago, Timothy Christmas, a phenomenal photographer who has shot me, who's been shooting me since probably like 2009, he wanted to learn to play guitar. And in the interim of poetry and all that stuff, I learned to play guitar. And
just doing everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
everything.
You got time sometimes, and you want to try something else, and you try it, you know, and then you like it. So this was kind of my story. And then he wanted to learn guitar, so I brought him over an extra guitar that I had, and he handed me his very first camera ever, and was like, here, you should take pictures. And I was like, really? He's like, no, yeah, you should take pictures. Like, I never, let me just, for the record, never considered taking pictures, ever. I had a girlfriend that was a photographer at one point, and I've had an amazing photographer, Tia Anthony, since I started in 2006, like out in the city. Like, we've built our brands together. But I never once was like, hey, I should take pictures. And when he handed me that camera, he said, I'll teach you everything I know. And he did. And honestly, the minute I started taking the pictures, I fell in love with it. And I say this, but I jokingly, but I really mean it. I know that when I get older, I'm not going to want to talk as much. So I'll be able to still express through my lens. I mean, you just know I'm actually a very naturally introverted person. So I know eventually I'm just...
I don't think anyone that like seen you out on the scene would believe that.
And that's the point. I'm also an excellent actor. But no, I learned that introverted people, like the true definition is like, it's people that have to recharge by themselves and don't necessarily need like outside. Like extroverts need like other people's energy to boost. Like, I need to go home and stay in the house for 3 days. It makes me feel good. So, but because I am a performer and I love art and I love people and I love the engagement, I can be out for a while and then have to go back in.
Go back in your cave.
Yeah, I'm very like like a bear. Like, I gotta hibernate.
Okay, so the next question is, so a part of controlling your own narrative is definitely about healing.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you use your work to not only heal yourself, but to heal others?
Mm. The first thing that comes to mind is my poetry. I always said my definition of success was that if one person walked away with something, then I did what I needed to do. If other people got it as well, that was icing on the cake. Mm-hmm. But I often know when it's a great piece, when I'm being very, like, I teach poetry classes to adults, that you have to be very transparent as an artist. You know, there's a point where you just have to be extra honest, and one, because you're the voice for the voiceless, and a lot of people are experiencing what you've gone through, even if you don't know it. Once you do the piece and it is healing to you, like for me, the gauge is like, wow, that was a lot, and it's great, and it's full. I need to share this because I know I can't be alone in this, and so I need to share. And Audrey, what I always quote her, she says, and poetry is not a luxury. She says, for the black woman, poetry is not revolutionary, but revelatory. And for me, that translates to, within the revelation, like with the revelation lies the revolution. So with us being naked on stage, with us revealing these things, with us doing this and allowing people to commune and feel together and say, hey, that happened to me when I was in 5th grade, that happened to me when I was in 5th grade, like, and this is why I think like this, and this is why I think like this. And having those kind of conversations will ultimately erase fears and doubts and things and allow us to build and be stronger, and then, you know, the revolution is within that, you know. So that's kind of my thoughts there. Did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So is that the same way for like yourself when you're writing? Is that like a healing thing for yourself?
Very much so. I've kind of gone back to writing for me. Mm-hmm. I don't do a lot of poetry outside anymore, and you know, like, not to say that I won't ever, but you know, I've got 9 CDs, a book that's 200 and something pages, and you know, I'll write for people's CDs, and if I get asked to do certain things, I'll do it. But I've kind of gone back to it being like a private practice for a while.
Okay.
But I definitely still do it as a heal, and one thing, like the other art forms like photography and music, and like this evening I had a long day, so I decided to wind down, play some guitar, you know.
That sounds just like the introvert in you. You're like, I just write for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, just, you know, sometimes I just flush things out, and if something comes out that's epic, I'll probably just take a video of it and post it or something.
Okay. So, okay, and this is actually the final question. I said this would be quick and easy.
Yeah, I love it.
So, what is your advice for anyone who, you know, didn't feel like they were controlling their own narrative, but now they want to start?
I would say you have the outlets. You know, one thing that we're fortunate, in the last 10 years, technology has changed vastly and very quickly. You know, broadband didn't even happen until 2005, so we were still dialing up, you know, from 1999 to 2005. All still a very, very small window of time. But you have now a opportunity to honestly craft your own image and story. People will always have an opinion of you. people will always have an opinion. They will always want to spin what you said. They'll always think of it a certain way because from people, it's their perception is their reality, right? So they're going to perceive it how they perceive it, but that doesn't negate what you're writing and what you put out there in your status message, in your Instagram photos, in your, I don't know, the young people do the Snapchat.
Yeah,
I don't know nothing about that, but in your Twitter, on your Periscope or your live Facebook feed or whatever it is, we have all of these tremendous opportunities to share what we're going through, what we've been through, you know. And I would like people to use that as their platform, to, especially artists, you know, understand that all of those things, some people will never ever meet you in person. So they're piecing together your story off of social media, or if you're a performance artist, off of what they get from you on stage. So, you know, be mindful of your decisions of what you say and what you do in public. And if you want to really control your narrative, you know, like you have to hone in on that and pay attention and decide how you want to use your tools. You know, like you want to use them for good, or you want to use them for bad. You want to use them to uplift yourself in the eyes of people, or you want to look like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know sometimes. I look at certain things people say and I'm like, why? What was the point? Like, why? You just, okay. You were venting. That's fine. Also, get some really good friends and call them and vent. I don't know. I think there's certain platforms for certain things, but if we're focused on talking to the artists and the activists and the revolutionaries and the people who want to do something and change the world, and I say use your platforms wisely. We all have them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I'll give the floor to you if you want to plug any events or anything like that.
Okay. Well, Brown and Healthy is where it's at. It is everything and all things to me. brownandhealthy.com. We have a calendar that is growing leaps and bounds. We're going to be at a few expos coming up. We're also going to be in Miami on South Beach. We're doing a meetup April 10th. And we encourage people when we do these meetups all over the country, all over the world, to join us. Let's take a trip, you know, let's meet up on South Beach and exercise with personal trainers all over the world, wherever. But that is definitely the focus. You can also catch me at lovethepoet.com. I'm sure some amazing artistic things are coming down the pike. And Michelle Antoinette photography.com. I'm doing a lot of video. Stay tuned. I'm doing some work with some amazing artists. So, yeah.